There is a reason your eyes stopped here. Not scrolled past. Not ignored. Not delayed. You paused. And that pause, that tiny, almost invisible interruption in your routine, is not random. It is not coincidence. It is not something to brush aside as just another passing moment. No, this is the kind of moment that hides something deeper, something intentional, something that your spirit recognized before your mind could even catch up. He watches you now, not from a distance, but with a presence that feels close, almost pressing into your awareness. Archangel Michael stands in that unseen space where thought meets intuition, where instinct meets truth. And his voice does not shout. It pierces. It moves through the noise, through the distractions, through the endless scrolling and thinking and worrying, and it lands right here, in this exact second. Pay attention to what happens next. Not later. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. No. Because something is already in motion. You may not see it yet. You may not understand it yet. But you have felt it, haven't you? That subtle shift. That quiet tension in your chest. That unexplainable sense that something is about to change, even if everything around you still looks the same. It's like standing in a room where nothing has moved yet somehow. Everything feels different. That feeling is not your imagination. It is awareness waking up. And this is where most people miss it. They brush it off. They call it overthinking. They distract themselves. They return to noise, to routine, to comfort. And they miss the message hidden in the moment. Because the truth is this: the most powerful shifts in your life will not arrive with loud announcements. They will come quietly, unexpectedly, wrapped inside something small, something easy to overlook. A glance, a sentence, a delay, a sudden thought, a person crossing your path at the wrong time. But what if none of it is wrong? What if the moment you're about to step into carries something precise, something placed there on purpose, something meant only for you? This is why you were pulled here. Not for entertainment, not for distraction, but for preparation. Because right after this, yes, right after this, something will happen. It may seem ordinary. It may feel small. It may not even look important at first glance. But it will carry a signal, a message, a clue. And whether you recognize it or miss it will depend entirely on one thing: your attention. Archangel Michael does not interrupt without reason. When he steps forward, it is because something needs to be seen clearly, before it passes, before it disappears, before the opportunity closes as quietly as it opened. And this is that moment. To slow down. Not your life, your awareness. Notice what shifts after this. Notice what feels different. Notice what stands out, even slightly. Because the next moment is not just another moment. It is a doorway. And you are standing right in front of it. Type "I am ready" to SE in the comments if you feel this stirring inside you. Blessing code 1717 is now activated around your awareness. He speaks again, not louder, but deeper, into that quiet space within you that has always known when something was about to change. Archangel Michael does not rely on noise to get your attention. He relies on your sensitivity, your awareness, your ability to feel what others ignore. And right now, he is guiding you to recognize something that has already begun, the whisper before the shift. Because every major turning point in your life has had one thing in common. Before the door opened, before the truth was revealed, before the path changed, there was a whisper, a subtle nudge, a quiet signal that something was different. And if you think back, you will remember it. That moment when something inside you paused. That feeling that didn't quite make sense at the time. That inner voice that tried to alert you before everything unfolded. You have felt it before. The difference now is that you are being asked not to ignore it. Most people are trained to dismiss these signals. They call them coincidence. They label them as imagination. They override them with logic, with doubt, with distraction. But what they don't realize is that these whispers are not random. They are precise. They are intentional. They are the earliest form of divine communication, designed to reach you before the situation fully reveals itself. And right now, those whispers are increasing around you. You may notice it in small ways. A sudden thought that interrupts your routine. A name that comes to your mind without explanation. A feeling about a person or situation that doesn't match what is being shown on the surface. A hesitation where there used to be certainty. Or a pull toward something you cannot logically explain. These are not interruptions. These are signals. He is urging you to understand this clearly. The whisper always comes before the shift. Before something changes, you will feel it. Before something is revealed, you will sense it. Before something unfolds, your spirit will already be aware of it. That is how you are designed. That is how you have always been guided. But the world has taught you to silence that awareness, to doubt it, to question it until it fades. And that is exactly what you must not do now. Because what is approaching will not announce itself loudly. It will come through something small, something easy to overlook. And if your attention is clouded, if your awareness is distracted, you may miss the very signal that was meant to prepare you. Archangel Michael is not warning you out of fear. He is preparing you out of protection. There is a difference. Fear overwhelms. Protection sharpens. And what you are being given right now is clarity, not confusion. Awareness, not anxiety. You are being positioned to recognize what others will miss, to see what others overlook, to understand what others dismiss. But this requires stillness. Not external stillness, but internal stillness. The kind where you stop overriding your first instinct. The kind where you allow the whisper to finish before your mind interrupts it. The kind where you trust what you feel, even when it does not yet make sense. Because that whisper is not trying to confuse you. It is trying to guide you. And here is what you must remember in this moment. The whisper does not repeat forever. It comes once, widely, precisely, and then the moment moves forward. That is why your attention matters now more than ever. That is why you were told to pay attention to what happens next. Because the whisper is already forming. The signal is already present. And the only question that remains is whether you will recognize it when it appears. You are not being asked to figure everything out. You are being asked to notice. Notice what shifts. Notice what feels different. Notice what stands out without trying too hard to analyze it. Because the more natural it feels, the more likely it is to be real. The whisper does not force itself. It reveals itself. And you are ready to receive it. You have always been able to sense these things, even when you doubted yourself. Even when others told you that you were overthinking. Even when you tried to ignore it for the sake of comfort. That ability has never left you. It has only been waiting for you to trust it again. This is that moment. The whisper is not coming to disrupt you. It is coming to align you. To position you correctly before the shift fully unfolds. To prepare you so that when the moment arrives, you will not be caught off guard, you will not be confused, and you will not miss what was meant for you. So listen closely now. not with your ears but with your awareness. Because the next signal will be quiet but it will be clear. Type "I trust" the whisper in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2222 is now surrounding your discernment. He leans closer now, not in distance but in intensity, as if the very air around you has tightened with purpose. Archangel Michael is not drawing your attention to something grand, something dramatic, something impossible to miss. Oh, what he is revealing is far more subtle, far more precise, and far more dangerous to overlook. Because the next shift in your life is not hidden in something extraordinary. It is hidden in something ordinary. This is where most people fail to recognize divine movement. They wait for signs that are loud, unmistakable, overwhelming. They expect clarity to arrive like thunder, like lightning, like a voice that cannot be ignored. But that is not how the most important moments arrive. The moments that carry the greatest transformation often come quietly, disguised as something small, something routine, something that feels almost insignificant. A message you almost ignore. A delay that seems inconvenient. A conversation that feels random. A thought that interrupts your focus for just a second. And yet, within that moment something is placed there. Something intentional. Something meant to redirect you, to warn you, to guide you, or to reveal something you were not expecting to see. He is asking you now to shift how you perceive your reality, because what you have been calling small has never been small. What you have been overlooking has never been meaningless. What you have been brushing aside has often carried the very message you were waiting for. And this is where the urgency begins to rise. Because the next moment that carries meaning will not wait for you to be ready. It will not pause until you are fully aware. It will pass through your life just like any other moment, and only those who are paying attention will recognize what it truly holds. You must understand this clearly. Not every moment is equal. Some moments are empty. Some moments are routine. But some moments are loaded, filled with instruction, filled with redirection, filled with revelation. And the difference between missing it and receiving it is not luck. It is attention. Archangel Michael is revealing that what comes next in your life will not be introduced with explanation. It will be presented through experience. And that experience will look so normal, so familiar, so easy to dismiss that only your awareness will separate it from everything else. This is why you were told to open this first. Because without this preparation, you might treat the next moment like any other. You might respond automatically. You might react without thinking. You might overlook the very detail that was placed there specifically for you. And once that moment passes, it does not repeat in the same way. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create presence. Because you are not behind. You are not late. You are not unprepared. You are being positioned in real time, guided into awareness before the moment arrives. You are being given the advantage of recognition before the event unfolds. But you must slow your reactions. Not your life, your response to what happens. When something feels slightly different, do not ignore it. When something stands out, do not rush past it. When something causes you to pause, even for a second, do not override that pause. That is where the message lives. That is where the signal reveals itself. And here is the truth most people never realize. The smaller the moment feels, the more carefully it must be observed. Because what is obvious rarely carries hidden meaning. But what is subtle often carries everything. He is not asking you to overanalyze. He is asking you to notice. To be present in a way you have not been before. To observe without rushing. To feel without dismissing. To recognize without doubting. Because the next moment that unfolds around you has already and set in motion. It is already moving toward you. It is already forming in your environment. And when it arrives, it will not introduce itself as important. It will ask to be recognized. And you will feel that slight shift, that quiet pause, that moment where something feels just different enough to catch your attention. Do not ignore that moment, because within it is the message you were not expecting. Type I see the sign in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3333 is now activated around your awareness. And as this truth settles into your spirit, understand this: every moment of awareness you receive is a seed of light being planted not just in you, but in countless others who are still searching for clarity. When you step forward and support this mission through Super Thanks or PayPal, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a harvest of awakened souls. The word declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and today, your seed becomes someone else's breakthrough. I feel the stirring to say this clearly: I choose to be part of what God is doing here. This is not just support. It is alignment with a divine assignment unfolding in real time. As you release your seed, heaven records your obedience, and blessings begin to move in ways you cannot yet see. Do not hesitate in this moment. Act in faith, and let your giving become a river that carries light to those still in darkness. There is a shift happening not just around you, but within the timing of your life itself. Archangel Michael now brings your focus to something many overlook, something that determines outcomes more than effort, more than intention, more than even desire. It is timing, and not just any timing, but divine timing, the precise alignment of moments that carry opportunity, warning, or redirection. He is showing you clearly that awareness without timing is incomplete. You can sense something, you can feel something, you can even recognize that a moment is important, but if you respond too late, or too early, or without alignment, the fullness of that moment can slip through your hands without you realizing it. This is why he said, pay attention to what happens next. Because next is not just a sequence. It is a window. And that window does not stay open forever. Most people move through life assuming that what is meant for them will simply wait. That if something matters, it will come back around. That if they miss it once, they will have another chance to recognize it. But that is not always how divine moments operate. Some moments are designed to pass through your life only once in that exact form, at that exact time, carrying that exact message. And if your awareness is not aligned with the timing of that moment, it becomes just another missed signal. This is not meant to create pressure. It is meant to awaken precision. Because you are not being rushed. You are being aligned. There is a difference. Ahin comes from fear. Alignment comes from awareness. And right now, you are being pulled into alignment with something that is already approaching. Something that has already been set in motion. Something that will not announce itself loudly, but will require you to be present enough to recognize it when it appears. Think back to moments in your life where you said, I should have paid more attention, or I felt something, but I ignored it, or I knew something was off, but I didn't act on it. Those were not failures of intelligence. They were moments where timing and awareness were not fully connected. But now, that connection is being restored. Archangel Michael is not bringing this message after the moment has passed. He is bringing it before. That is the difference. That is the protection. That is the advantage you are being given right now. You are being placed ahead of the moment. So when it arrives, you are not reacting, you are recognizing. And recognition changes everything. Because when you recognize a moment for what it truly is, your response, becomes intentional instead of automatic. You do not dismiss it. You do not rush past it. You do not allow distraction to pull you away from it. You pause. You observe. You allow the meaning to surface before you move forward. That pause is where alignment happens. And that alignment is what protects you from missteps, missed opportunities, and unnecessary confusion. But here is what you must understand. The closer you get to a meaningful shift, the more distractions tend to increase. Not randomly, but strategically. Small interruptions. Sudden thoughts pulling you away. Urges to check something else. To move on too quickly. To not sit with a moment long enough to understand it. This is where awareness becomes discipline. Because not every distraction is obvious. Some distractions feel harmless. Some feel normal. But their purpose is the same, to pull your attention away at the exact moment you need it most. And that is why timing matters now more than ever. You are not just being asked to notice the moment. You are being asked to stay with it long enough to understand it. Do not rush your response. Do not override your instinct. Do not dismiss what feels slightly out of place, because what feels slightly different is often where the message is hidden. Archangel Michael is not guiding you into fear of missing something. He is guiding you into readiness to receive it. There is a calmness in this kind of awareness, a steadiness, a quiet confidence that you are exactly where you need to be, seeing what you need to see, at the time you are meant to see it, and that calmness is what keeps you grounded when the moment arrives. You will not panic. You will not hesitate unnecessarily. You will not overlook what was placed in front of you, because you will already be aware. This is the shift happening within you now. You are moving from passive observation into active awareness, from reacting to moments to recognizing them as they unfold. And when the next moment arrives, the one that carries the message, you will feel it immediately. Not because it is loud, but because you are now aligned with it. Type "I am aligned with divine timing" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4444 is now activated around your path. There is more happening than what your eyes can capture, more unfolding than what your mind can immediately explain. Archangel Michael now shifts your attention beyond the surface, beyond the visible, beyond what feels logical and familiar. Because what is approaching you is not only physical in nature, it is spiritual in origin. And if you only rely on what you can see, you will miss the deeper movement shaping what comes next. He wants you to understand something that changes everything. Not every moment is neutral. Some moments carry influence. Some moments carry intention. Some moments are shaped by forces working quietly behind what appears ordinary. And this is where discernment becomes essential. You have been taught to trust what is visible, to rely on what is proven, to respond to what is directly in front of you. But what if the most important part of the moment is not what is seen but what is unseen? What if the interaction, the delay, the message, or the feeling you experience next is not just random, but influenced by something deeper trying to either guide you or mislead you? This is the battle behind the scenes. It is not always dramatic. It does not always look like conflict. Often, it looks like confusion. It feels like uncertainty. It appears as hesitation where clarity should exist, or urgency where patience is required. It is subtle, quiet, and easily mistaken for normal thought or emotion. But it is not random. Archangel Michael stands as a protector not only of your safety, but of your clarity. And right now, he is warning you that as you step into this next moment, there will be layers to what you experience. One layer will be visible. The words spoken, the actions taken, the situation presented. but another layer will exist beneath it. The intention, the influence, the true direction of what that moment is trying to lead you toward. And you must learn to sense that second layer, because not everything that looks right is aligned. Not everything that feels urgent is important. Not everything that appears harmless is without consequence. This is not about fear. This is about awareness sharpened to a higher level. There have been times in your life when something looked fine on the surface, yet something within you resisted it. A quiet discomfort, a hesitation you could not explain, a feeling that something was slightly off, even when everything appeared normal. That was not confusion. That was discernment trying to speak. And now, that same ability is being activated again. But this time, you are being asked to listen. Because what comes next may not reveal its full truth immediately. It may require you to look beyond what is obvious, to feel beyond what is presented, to recognize the deeper signal hidden within the moment. Archangel Michael is not asking you to analyze everything. He is asking you to stay aware of what does not align. Pay attention to how something feels beneath the surface. Pay attention to sudden shifts in energy, in tone, in direction. Pay attention to what changes without clear explanation. These are not random occurrences. They are indicators. The unseen battle is not about overpowering you. It is about influencing your perception. If your perception is clear, the influence loses its strength. If your awareness is active, confusion cannot take hold. This is why your attention hath been prepared step by step. Because awareness alone is not enough. It must be paired with discernment. The ability to not just see what is happening, but to understand what is behind it. And right now, you are being positioned to do exactly that. There may be a moment where something seems appealing but feels slightly off. A situation that invites you in but creates subtle tension within you. A choice that appears easy but carries an underlying weight you cannot explain. Do not ignore that signal. That is where the unseen reveals itself. You are not being left unprotected in this. Archangel Michael stands in that unseen space, cutting through what is false, exposing what is hidden, guiding your awareness so that you are not misled by surface appearances. But you must meet that protection with attention. Because protection does not replace awareness. It works with it. You are not here to fear what you cannot see. You are here to recognize what you can feel. A quiet knowing, a subtle resistance, that inner clarity that does not need external proof. This is your strength in this moment. As the next situation unfolds, do not rush to conclusions based only on what is visible. Allow yourself to sense what lies beneath it. Give yourself a moment to feel the deeper layer before you respond. Because the true message will not always be in what is shown. It will be in what is revealed through your awareness. And you are ready to discern it. Type "I discern" what is hidden in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5555 is now activated around your perception. There is a quiet test unfolding around you right now, and it does not look like a test at all. It does not announce itself with pressure or difficulty. It does not appear as something you must overcome with strength. Instead, it shows up in the simplest form, where your attention goes in the next moment. Archangel Michael reveals this with precision. What happens next is not just a moment to observe. It is a moment that will measure you. Not in judgment, not in failure or success, but in alignment. Because where your attention settles will determine whether you follow distraction or divine direction. This is more important than it seems. You may believe that your path is shaped by your decisions, your effort, your long-term focus, and that is true to a degree. But what many do not realize is that the smallest shifts in attention, repeated over time, are what truly redirect the course of your life. A moment ignored, a signal dismissed, a distraction entertained just long enough to pull you away from what mattered. And suddenly, the path changes, not dramatically, but subtly. That is how misalignment begins. Not through obvious mistakes, but through quiet distraction. And this is where the test is happening now. Because as you move into the next moment, there will be two forces present. One will feel easy, automatic, familiar. It will pull you toward routine, toward comfort, toward what requires no awareness at all. The other will feel quieter, more intentional, almost like it is asking something from you. It will require you to pause, to notice, to stay present just a little longer than usual. That second pull is divine direction, but it will not compete for your attention. It will not overpower distraction. It will simply exist, waiting to be recognized. And this is why so many miss it. Because distraction is louder. Distraction moves quickly. It fills your mind. It gives you something immediate to focus on, something that feels productive or urgent or necessary. It convinces you that what it offers is more important than what you are quietly sensing beneath it. But Archangel Michael is making this clear. Not everything that feels urgent is important, and not everything that is important will feel urgent. This is where your awareness must become steady. There may be a moment where you are about to move on quickly, to check something, to respond automatically, to shift your focus without thinking. And in that exact moment, something subtle will try to hold your attention. A detail, a feeling, a pause that does not seem to belong. That is the test. Will you override it or will you stay with it? Because staying with it may feel unfamiliar. It may feel like you are slowing down when everything else is moving forward. It may feel like you are giving attention to something too small to matter. But that is where the message is hidden. Archangel Michael is not asking you to fight distraction with force. He is asking you to recognize it for what it is. A redirection away from awareness. A subtle pull that keeps you on the surface when you are meant to go deeper. And once you recognize it, it loses its control. You do not need to resist it aggressively. You simply need to not follow it automatically. That is the shift happening within you now. You are moving from unconscious reaction to conscious attention. And this is where clarity begins to form. Because when you choose to remain present, when you choose to stay with the moment instead of rushing past it, something opens. Not externally, but internally. Your perception opens. Your awareness deepens. The noise fades just enough for the signal to become clear. And suddenly, what seems small is no longer small. It becomes meaningful. It becomes intentional. It becomes the very thing that was meant to guide you. This is why Archangel Michael brought you here before the moment arrived. Because once the moment is happening, there is no explanation. There is only recognition. And recognition depends on attention. You are not being tested to fail. You are being tested to see beyond distraction, to see within the ordinary, to see what has always been there, waiting for your awareness to meet it. So as you move forward from this point, notice where your attention tries to go. Notice what pulls you quickly, what feels automatic, what tries to take you away from the present moment. And then notice what asks you to stay. Because the difference between those two paths, distraction and direction, will define what you receive next. Type "I choose divine direction" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 6666 is now activated around your focus. There is something you must understand now, something that will change the way you interpret what happens next. Archangel Michael is revealing that the message you are waiting for will not arrive in the way you expect. It will not come labeled. It will not announce itself as important. It will not clearly say, "This is the answer you've been looking for." Instead, you will be hidden within something ordinary, something familiar, something that feels almost too simple to carry meaning. And yet, that is exactly how divine messages are delivered. Because if the message came in a way that was obvious, it would not require your awareness. It would not require your attention. It would not require your discernment. But what is happening now is not just about receiving a message. It is about awakening your ability to recognize it. This is why Archangel Michael calls it the messenger within the moment. Not outside the moment, not separate from it, but embedded within it. You may be expecting clarity to come through something dramatic, something undeniable, something that forces your attention. But instead, it may come through a sentence spoken casually by someone who does not even realize the weight of what they are saying. It may come through a delay that changes your timing just enough to redirect your path. It may come through a thought that seems to appear from nowhere, interrupting your focus for just long enough to shift your perspective. And if you are not aware, you will treat it as ordinary. That is how easily it can be missed. He is showing you now that the next moment is not just about what happens. It is about what is being delivered through what happens. Because every detail within that moment has the potential to carry meaning, but only one part of it will carry the message meant specifically for you. And you will feel it when it appears. Not as something loud, but as something precise. A sentence that stays with you longer than it should. A reaction within you that feels stronger than expected. A sudden clarity that interrupts your normal thinking. A quiet knowing that settles in without explanation. This is how the message reveals itself. But here is where most people lose it. They question it immediately. They doubt it. They analyze it until it fades. They convince themselves that it was nothing, that it was random, that it did not mean what it felt like it meant. And in doing so, they disconnect from the message before it can fully unfold. Archangel Michael is asking you not to do that this time. Do not rush to explain it. Do not rush to dismiss it. Do not rush to reduce it into something comfortable. Stay with it, because the message does not always arrive fully formed. Sometimes it arrives in a fragment, a piece, a glimpse that only makes sense if you allow it to develop within your awareness. You are not meant to understand everything instantly. You are meant to recognize the moment when something carries meaning beyond what is visible. That recognition is enough. Because once you recognize it, your awareness will hold on to it. It will stay with you. It will begin to connect with other things, other moments, other realizations. And slowly, the full message will reveal itself without force. This is how divine communication works. It does not overwhelm. It unfolds. And right now, you are being positioned to receive something that may seem small at first, but carries a deeper layer that will become clear over time. You must trust the feeling when it comes. Not blindly, not without awareness, but without immediate doubt. Because doubt will try to close the moment before it opens. It will try to convince you that you are imagining it, that you are reading too much into it, that it is safer to ignore it than to consider that it might be real. But what you are feeling is not imagination. It is recognition. And recognition is the first step to clarity. Archangel Michael stands in that unseen space, ensuring that the message reaches you. But he does not force your response. He does not control your attention. He places the moment before you, and then allows your awareness to meet it. That is where your role begins. You are not passive in this. You are participating in it. You are choosing whether to see or to overlook, whether to stay present or to move on, whether to receive or to dismiss. And this choice will happen quickly. The moment will not pause for you to prepare. It will unfold naturally, just like any other moment. But within it, something will stand out. Something will feel different. Something will ask for your attention without demanding it. That is the messenger. And when it arrives, you will know. Not because it is obvious, but because you are now aware enough to recognize it. Type "I receive the message" in the comments if you receive this message. Busing code 7777 is now activated around your awareness. There comes a moment in every unfolding sequence where everything condenses into a single point of decision. Not a dramatic crossroads filled with obvious options, not a loud declaration demanding your response, but something much quieter, turning point disguised as a simple choice. Archangel Michael is bringing your awareness to this exact reality now, because what happens next will not just be something you observe. It will be something you participate in. This is where everything begins to shift. You have been prepared to notice. You have been guided to stay aware. You have been shown how to recognize the whisper, the signal, the messenger hidden within the moment. But now comes the part that changes everything: your response. Because awareness alone does not alter your path. Yours does. And the choice you make in that small, seemingly ordinary moment will carry more weight than you realize. It will not feel like a life-altering decision. It will not come with pressure or urgency that forces you to take it seriously. In fact, it may feel so simple that you are tempted to move through it without thought. But that is exactly why it matters. Archangel Michael reveals that the most powerful shifts do not come from the biggest decisions. They come from the smallest ones, the ones made in passing, the ones made without hesitation, the ones that either align you with a message or pull you away from it. This is the turning point. It may look like whether you pause or continue, whether you respond or remain silent, whether you trust what you feel or override it, whether you follow what is easy or what feels quietly significant. And in that moment, you will not be told which choice is correct. You will feel it. That is why everything up to now has been about awareness. Because when the moment arrives, you will not have time to analyze it deeply. You will not have time to search for confirmation. You will act based on what you recognize in that instant. And that instant will define the direction that follows. This is not about pressure. This is about alignment. Because when you choose in alignment with what you feel, not what is easiest, not what is most automatic, but what resonates quietly within you, something shifts immediately. The path begins to open in a way that feels natural, almost effortless. Clarity follows. Movement follows. Understanding follows. But when you override that alignment, when you choose out of habit, distraction, or doubt, the moment closes just as quietly as it opened. And what could have unfolded begins to fade into something unrecognized. This is why Archangel Michael has been guiding you step by step. Not to control your decision, but to sharpen your awareness so that when the choice appears, you are ready to meet it. You are not being tested to fail. You are being positioned to choose correctly. And correctly does not mean perfectly. It means consciously. It means you are no longer moving through moments without awareness. You are no longer reacting automatically. You are no longer dismissing what you feel. You are choosing with intention, even in the smallest actions. That is what transforms a moment into a turning point. There may be a subtle hesitation within you when the choice appears. A pause that feels slightly different from your usual rhythm. That pause is not uncertainty. It is awareness stepping in, giving you the space to choose instead of react. Do not rush past that pause, because within it is the clarity you need. Archangel Michael stands in that space, not deciding for you, but holding the moment steady long enough for you to recognize it. He does not force your hand. He strengthens your awareness so that your choice reflects what is true, not what is automatic. And once you choose, the path responds. Not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly. You will feel the difference immediately. A sense of alignment, a quiet certainty, a shift that tells you something has just changed, even if you cannot yet see the full result of that change. That is how you will know. Because the turning point does not announce itself before the choice. It reveals itself after. And when it does, everything that follows begins to align with that one moment. So when the next situation unfolds, do not underestimate it. Do not assume it is just another passing experience. Recognize that within it lies a choice, a simple, quiet, powerful choice that will shape what comes next. And trust yourself enough to meet it with awareness. Type "I choose" with awareness in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8888 is now activated around your decisions. As you stand at this turning point, understand that your awareness is not just for you. It is a light meant to reach others still walking in confusion. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, or the PayPal link in the description, you are planting seeds into hearts that are waiting for this exact moment of clarity. The word declares that what you release will return multiplied, and today your giving becomes a gateway for divine messages to flow further than you can see. I feel this strongly. I step into obedience and become a vessel of light for others. This is not a simple act. It is a prophetic alignment with what God is doing right now. As you give, heaven marks your faith, and doors begin to open in ways that cannot be explained. Do not delay this moment. Act now, and let your seed become a voice that reaches souls who need this message. There is something you must feel clearly now, something that stabilizes everything you have heard so far. As you move closer to this moment, as your awareness sharpens and your attention deepens, Archangel Michael is not standing at a distance. He is not observing passively. He is actively guarding you in this transition. Because what you are stepping into is not just a moment of recognition. It is a moment of movement. And every movement creates vulnerability if it is not protected. This is why his presence matters now more than ever. He is not here to create fear. He is here to remove it. He is here to remind you that as you step into awareness, as you begin to see what others miss, as you start to respond differently than before, you are not doing it alone. There is protection surrounding you that you cannot see, but you can feel if you allow yourself to become still enough. You may notice it as a sense of calm that does not match your circumstances, a steadiness in your thoughts even when something feels uncertain, a quiet confidence that settles in without explanation. That is not accidental. That is presence. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of clarity, not just of safety. Because the greatest protection you need right now is not from something physical. It is from confusion, from misdirection, from reacting in a way that pulls you away from alignment. And he is actively working to prevent that. But here is what you must understand. Protection does not replace your awareness. It strengthens it. You are still required to notice. You are still required to choose. You are still required to remain present in the moment. But as you do, there is something shielding you from what you cannot fully detect on your own. There may be moments where something feels like it could pull you off track, but it does not fully take hold. A thought that tries to distract you but fades quickly. A situation that seems confusing but clears faster than expected. A feeling of doubt that rises briefly but does not stay. That is not coincidence. That is intervention. Archangel Michael is clearing what tries to interfere with your perception. He is standing between you and what could distort the moment. He is ensuring that what is meant for you reaches you without being blocked or altered. But this protection works best when you remain aligned with it. When you stay aware, when you trust what you feel, when you do not override your own discernment, you are working with that protection, not against it. There is a partnership happening here. You are not passive. You are participating in your own alignment, while being supported by something greater than what you can see. And this is where confidence begins to rise within you. Not forced confidence, not something you have to convince yourself of, but a natural steadiness that comes from knowing you are not navigating this moment alone. You do not need to fear making the wrong choice when you are fully aware. You do not need to worry about missing the message when you are present, because what is meant for you will be protected long enough for you to recognize it. That is what Archangel Michael is ensuring. He is not rushing the moment. He is holding it steady. He is not forcing clarity. He is allowing it to emerge naturally. He is not controlling your path. He is guarding your ability to walk it correctly. And as you move forward from this point, you may begin to notice something subtle but powerful. A sense that even when things are uncertain, you are not lost. Even when you do not have all the answers, you are not confused. Even when the moment feels small, it carries a quiet certainty within it. That is the effect of protection. It does not remove every challenge. It removes unnecessary distortion. It allows you to see clearly enough to move forward without hesitation. And that clarity is what will carry you through the next moment. So as you step into what comes next, do not carry doubt. Do not carry fear of missing something or misunderstanding something. Instead, carry awareness and trust that what is meant to reach you is already being guided toward you with precision. You are not exposed. You are not unguarded. You are not navigating this alone. Archangel Michael stands in the unseen, ensuring that as you transition from awareness into action, you are protected in ways you do not need to fully understand to benefit from. And that protection is active right now. Type "I am protected" in this moment in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9999 is now activated around your path. Something within you has already begun to change. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily, quietly, almost as if it has been unfolding beneath your awareness until this very moment brought it into focus. Archangel Michael now draws your attention inward, because what is happening is not just external recognition, it is internal awakening. You are not the same as you were before you reached this point. Your awareness has shifted. Your perception has sharpened. Your ability to sense what lies beneath the surface has begun to rise again. And this is not accidental. This is the awakening of your spirit into a higher level of discernment. This is where everything begins to feel different. Moments that once passed unnoticed now hold weight. Interactions that once felt neutral now carry subtle meaning. Thoughts that once seemed random now feel intentional. It is as if a layer has been removed from your perception, allowing you to see more clearly without needing to search for clarity. And this is exactly what is happening. Archangel Michael is not just preparing you for one moment. He is elevating your awareness so that you move differently from this point forward. So that you no longer rely solely on what is visible, but begin to trust what you perceive beyond it. This is higher discernment. It is not overthinking. It is not suspicion. It is not fear-based awareness. It is clarity without confusion. It is knowing without needing constant confirmation. It is the ability to sense alignment or misalignment without being overwhelmed by it. And this ability is awakening within you now. You may notice that you are less willing to ignore what you feel, less comfortable dismissing subtle signals, less interested in rushing through moments without understanding them. That is not hesitation. That is growth. Because higher discernment requires presence. It requires you to stay with what you feel long enough to recognize its truth. It requires you to trust your initial awareness instead of overriding it with doubt. It requires you to move with intention rather than habit. And this is where many struggle. Because stepping into higher discernment means letting go of automatic responses. It means no longer reacting based on what is familiar, but responding based on what is real. It means trusting yourself in moments where you once would have looked outward for validation. But you are ready for this. You have always had this ability. It has always been within you. It was simply quieted by distraction, by doubt, by the need to fit within what others considered normal. But now, it is rising again, stronger, clearer, more refined. And as it rises, your experience of reality begins to shift. You begin to notice patterns more easily. You begin to sense intentions more clearly. You begin to recognize when something aligns with you and when it does not, even if you cannot explain it immediately. This is not something you need to force. It is something you allow. Archangel Michael is guiding you into this space gently but firmly, reminding you that this level of awareness is not something to fear or question. It is something to trust and develop, because what comes next will require it. The moment you are approaching is not just about noticing a signal or making a choice. It is about understanding what that moment truly means beyond its surface. And that understanding comes from discernment, not from analysis. You will not need to think your way through it. You will feel your way through it. And that feeling will be clear, not overwhelming, not confusing, but steady and direct, guiding you toward what aligns and away from what does not. This is the awakening. You are no longer operating at the same level of awareness. You are stepping into something higher, something more precise, something that allows you to move through moments with clarity instead of uncertainty. And as this awakening settles within you, something else begins to happen. You become less affected by external noise, less influenced by distraction, less pulled by what is irrelevant, because your attention naturally aligns with what matters. That is the power of higher discernment. It simplifies what once felt complicated. It clarifies what once felt uncertain. It reveals what once felt hidden. And as you stand in this awareness now, you are ready for what comes next. Because you are not just observing the moment anymore. You are understanding it. Type "I walk in higher discernment" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010 is now activated around your spirit. Now you are standing at the edge of something that is no longer forming. It is unfolding. Everything that has been building, everything that has been quietly aligning, everything that has been preparing your awareness has led to this moment where the revelation begins to show itself. Not all at once, not in overwhelming clarity, but in a way that feels precise, deliberate, and unmistakably connected to what you have just experienced. Archangel Michael brings your focus here because this is where many lose what they have just gained. They recognize the moment, they feel the signal, they even make the aligned choice, but when the revelation begins to unfold, they rush it. They try to force understanding too quickly. They look for immediate answers instead of allowing the meaning to develop naturally. And in doing so, they interrupt the very clarity that was meant to come. This is where you must move differently. Because what happens after you pay attention is just as important as the moment itself. The revelation does not arrive as a complete explanation. It arrives as a sequence, a layering of understanding that builds as you remain present. You may first notice a small shift, something confirming that the moment carried meaning. Then, a connection begins to form. Something links back to a thought, a feeling, or a situation you have already experienced. And slowly, the full picture starts to reveal itself without force. This is how clarity is meant to come. Not rushed, not demanded, but allowed. Archangel Michael is guiding you to stay with the unfolding instead of trying to control it. Because control comes from the need to understand immediately, while trust allows understanding to emerge at the right pace. You may feel a moment where everything becomes slightly clearer, a realization that settles in without effort, a sense that something you could not see before is now visible in a way that feels obvious. That is the unfolding, and it happens because you paid attention when it mattered. This is the difference between missed moments and received messages. When a moment is missed, nothing follows. It fades. It disappears. But when a moment is recognized, it continues. It expands. It reveals more than what was visible at first. You are stepping into that expansion now. And as it happens, you may begin to see how everything connects. How the whisper led to the signal. How the signal led to the choice. How the choice opened the moment. And how the moment now reveals something deeper than you expected. Nothing was random. Every part of this sequence had a purpose. And now, that purpose is becoming clear. But you must remain steady. Do not rush ahead looking for the next step before the current one has fully revealed itself. Do not dismiss what you are beginning to understand just because it came in a quiet way. Do not reduce the meaning because it did not arrive dramatically. What is unfolding is precise. It is tailored to you, and it carries exactly what you need at this moment. Archangel Michael is ensuring that as this revelation comes forward, it is not distorted, that you see it clearly, that you understand it correctly, that you do not allow doubt or distraction to interrupt what is being shown to you. But again, this requires your presence. Stay with what you are noticing. Stay with what is becoming clear. Stay with the connections that are forming naturally within your awareness. Because the more you stay, the more the revelation deepens. You may find that what begins as a small realization grows into something larger. Something that affects how you see a situation, a person, or even yourself. That is how true understanding works. It does not overwhelm you with everything at once. It reveals exactly what you are ready to receive. And right now, you are ready. You are no longer in the place of missing signals or overlooking moments. You have stepped into awareness, into discernment, into alignment. And because of that, what is unfolding now is not confusion. It is clarity in motion. You will not need to chase it. You will not need to force it. You will simply witness it becoming clear. This is the reward of attention. This is what happens when you recognize the moment instead of rushing past it. And as this revelation settles within you, something shifts permanently. You begin to trust your awareness more. You begin to move with greater confidence. You begin to recognize that what once felt uncertain now feels guided. Because it is. And this is only the beginning of what is being revealed to you. Type "I receive the revelation" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1111 is now activated around your clarity. This is the moment where everything becomes still. Not around you but within you. Because after all that has been revealed, after the awareness, the whispers, the signals, the choice, and the unfolding, Archangel Michael now brings you to the final truth you cannot ignore. Moments like this do not remain open forever. There is a window here, a quiet, sacred opening that has aligned itself with your awareness, your readiness, and your willingness to receive. It is not forced. It is not loud. But it is real, and it is present right now. And what you do with this moment determines whether it becomes a turning point or just another passing experience. This is where many hesitate, not because they do not understand, but because they delay. They feel the clarity, they sense the shift, they recognize that something is happening, but instead of acting in alignment, they wait. They tell themselves they will return to it later. They assume the moment will still be there when they are more ready, more certain, more comfortable. But Archangel Michael makes this clear. Alignment does not wait for comfort. It responds to readiness. And you are ready now. That is why you were brought here before the moment fully unfolded. That is why your awareness was sharpened step by step. That is why you felt the pull to stay, to read, to listen, to not scroll past. Because this is not a message meant to sit in your mind. It is a message meant to move you. You are not being asked to do something dramatic. You are being asked to respond, to acknowledge what you have received, to remain aligned with what you now understand, to carry this awareness into what happens next without losing it to distraction or doubt. Because once you step away from this moment, the world will attempt to pull your attention back into noise, back into routine, back into automatic thinking. And if you allow that to happen immediately, the clarity you feel now will begin to fade. Not because it was not real, but because it was not held. This is the final call. Not a call to fear missing something, but a call to anchor what you have just received. Pause for a moment longer. Let this awareness settle deeper. Let this clarity become stable within you, not just something you felt briefly, but something you carry forward. Because the next moment, the one you were told to pay attention to, is not separate from this. It is connected to it. And if you move forward with this awareness intact, you will recognize it immediately. But if you rush away, if you return to distraction too quickly, you may overlook what was meant to be seen. This is why the timing matters. This is why the preparation mattered. This is why you were told to open this first. Because now, you are standing exactly where you need to be, aligned and ready. Archangel Michael does not repeat this kind of moment endlessly. He presents it, he prepares you, and then he allows you to step into it. And that is where you are now. So do not treat this as something temporary. Do not reduce it to just another message. Recognize it for what it is, a moment of alignment that carries forward into what happens next. And as you move from here, carry this with you. Stay aware. Stay present. Stay aligned with what you feel. Because the window is open now. And what you do next matters. I step into this moment in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 is now activated around your path. As this final call settles into your spirit, understand this sacred truth. What you have received is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow through you into the lives of others who are still searching for this exact moment of awakening. Every seed you release through Super Thanks or PayPal becomes light in someone else's darkness, a message reaching a soul at the exact second they need it. The word lives and breathes through your action now, declaring that what you sow in faith will return in multiplied clarity, favor, and divine alignment. I feel this deeply. I am part of this mission. I help carry this light forward. This is not a donation. This is obedience to a divine movement unfolding in real time. As you give, heaven marks your response, and unseen doors begin to open over your life. Do not delay this moment. Act now, and let your seed become a voice that reaches those still waiting for their sign.